Hi, James Strachan here, Deputy Editor of The Medicine Maker. I'm here with Mark White of Bio-Rad, and we're going to talk about the future of the cell and gene therapy industry. So obviously the last 12 months have been quite a challenge. So I was just wondering, what have been some of the biggest changes for you over the past year?
I mean, I think for us as a company, just interacting with our customers, right? All of our trade shows had to rapidly to switch into virtual mode and even just, working with our customers day to day. A lot of times we try and do that face to face. And so it's been a really interesting experience, I think, for everybody to shift everything online really rapidly. And I think what we've come out of this year learning is that that's totally possible with the technologies that are available today, and kind of didn't really miss a beat in that respect. And at the same time, looking forward to, things getting back a bit more to normal so we can meet people in the field and get to know them on a personal level. So I think that's been a big kind of change for us in the life science kind of tools industry.
So, we've talked about some of the challenges over the past 12 months, but if you look at the cell and gene therapy industry, we've seen record growth. Has that sort of surprised you at all, that record growth?
Not really. I think that the people within the cell and gene therapy field, right, are in a field that's either really new and emerging, like gene therapy, or even cell therapy. It's been around a bit longer, but really still kind of emerging. And there's so much enthusiasm and excitement because of how well these therapies are working that, having to go remote and on Zoom and figure out how to manage a team through a pandemic is just another roadblock that they're used to blowing right through in some way, right? Because they have to, when you're inventing a whole new therapeutic kind of modality and pushing it through clinical trials, there's so many challenges that you're going through that this is just yet another one to make sure to get through on the other side. So from that perspective, I'm not surprised.
And I know cell and gene therapy is a big area for BioRad. So would you be able to tell me a little bit about how you support the cell and gene therapy industry?
Yeah, for us in cell and gene therapy, it's really, really important to characterize these therapies very well, especially from a safety and a quality control perspective. They're new therapies, they're complicated, there's a lot that goes into them, and the quality control testing that needs to happen is really critical. And so what we're seeing is, especially in gene therapy for adeno-associated virus, a big kind of pull for viral titer measurement with droplet digital PCR. And a lot of that is due to just how easy it is to kind of make that measurement with droplet digital PCR. So because we can do what we call an absolute count of essentially the number of molecules that are in a solution, molecules of DNA in a solution, it allows our customers to not have to use a standard curve. And which they normally would have to do with a qPCR run. And surprisingly, maintaining and developing those standard curves takes a lot of time and energy. And so it's a significant savings for them to not have to maintain that standard curve, especially in these highly regulated environments. And so there's been a big market pull from that perspective to get that viral titer measurement as accurate as possible. And so that's really where droplet digital has been most valuable in the cell and gene therapy market. And now we're starting to spread out from that area and kind of capture many more other tests. So we just launched a mycoplasma detection kit that allows you to rapidly determine in a short workflow whether or not there's mycoplasma contained within your dose, which is really important, right? To make sure that those mycoplasma species are not present in what you're giving ultimately to a human being. And so the bar is really high for these measurements. And I think a lot of people have realized that not only do you get a better result, a more consistent result from droplet digital, but it's actually easier to run in the lab. It's easier to maintain. It's easier to train people to run a droplet digital PCR system. And so that's where a lot of the thrust of kind of the product development and the market pull is going right now. And then in cell therapy, one of the most critical measurements is vector copy number. So how many of your CAR T molecules or CAR T constructs essentially are in your target cells.
Yeah, it must be quite rewarding to be sort of supporting an industry and companies that are developing, like, it's almost the next frontier of medicine. What curative therapies quite often. Maybe you could speak to that.
It's interesting. I did a PhD in biomedical sciences and was focused on heart research, and I realized that I loved developing new technologies and ways to ask the questions and answer the questions that we had in the lab. And I think a lot of us on the tool provider side, if you will, take great satisfaction when our instruments are used to make a big impact in a therapy, or even in basic research, right? Discovering a new therapy, or even just discovering something new about science that you don't even know what the use will be. And so it's exciting for me to be in this cell and gene therapy space because there's this willingness to try new things. And there's I think also this feeling of we're all in this together, even across companies, right? There's this openness that you might not see elsewhere because everybody is blazing these new trails. The therapeutic indications are really where the differentiation comes, but like how you do a test to say it's safe, like that's in everybody's best interest that all the therapies are safe. And so there's a lot of openness and collaboration from our companies that we work with to help us with product development, to test new products, to give us feedback on what would help them. And so that's really exciting and refreshing to kind of feel like you're there with them, pushing everything forward. And it's also really rewarding on a day-to-day basis, for sure.
Thank you very much for your time, Mark. It was a really interesting discussion.
Absolutely. Happy to be with you guys today and share our insights. And thank you for your time as well.